Wild Canadian Police Pursuits, Part 1.
After slamming into another car.
Belt that was laid out by police. Moments later, an OPP cruiser in pursuit is involved.
Pull this tractor over. When this happens.
I know Canada isn't the first place to think of when you think of wild, high-speed police pursuits. But over the last decade, Canada has become a huge hub for crime, from international drug sales to kidnapping to homicides, and of course, auto theft and carjackings. Ranking first or second in the G7 in some of these crime categories, either beating the United States or coming as a runner-up. So with the massive influx of crime and criminals over the last decade in Canada, police chases are obviously going to be increasing and more common, despite some police departments having strict no chase policies.
You guys silly? I'm still gonna send it.
Now, it's hard to say if police chases in Canada are more common now than they ever have been. I would assume they are, but it's tricky to get your hands on that kind of data here in Canada. But I can definitely say they aren't a new phenomenon here in Canada. I remember me and my mother being up in Northern Ontario when I was young, and a pickup truck nearly drove us off the road being chased by the Ontario Provincial Police, and I was around 7 or 8 years old, and I remember my mother being petrified. Or the time that I was 18 and I was actually involved in a police chase, but that's for another video. So let's just jump into the videos. I know that's what you guys want to see. Alright, in this video we are in Surrey, British Columbia, December 23rd, 2023. Buddy's ripping around in a tractor, being chased by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police on Highway 1. He was a protester that was part of the 1 Million March for Children Against SOGI, which was a joint US-Canadian parental movement against LGHG, TV, 4K, and trans indoctrination in public elementary schools across North America. Buddy is being chased in a tractor. Here we go.
RCMP say officers were attempting to pull this tractor over when this happened. After the tractor came to rest on its side, officers pulled the driver from the wreckage. An RCMP SUV also had significant damage. Police arrested the driver before paramedics took him to the hospital for unspecified injuries.
Okay, here we got what looks to be just north of Barrie, Ontario in Gastown, which is in Simcoe County on Highway 11 northbound. We've got the OPP, or Ontario Provincial Police Highway Troopers, chasing an armed drunk dude in a Camaro, which seems to be the 90s, and he's got his hood up. Simcoe County's always been redneck.
He's got a gun out.
A camera crew on a ride-along captures an unusual police pursuit.
Unit 10-3, we've got him. 10-3, where are you? 7-7, northbound. What's up, 10-3, going? The box again.
After slamming into another car, this runaway driver's hood has popped up. But even though he's flying blind, he still thinks he can get away.
Use extreme caution. One cruiser's been hit.
The driver doesn't seem to care that there are multiple cruisers surrounding him. In fact, he just wants everyone to get along.
Keeps giving us the peace sign.
What's your speed now, truck?
118.
His aerodynamically challenged vehicle looks like a deformed sailboat. But this 30-mile pleasure cruise hits rough waters when police deploy spike strips.
Okay, guys, get ready. Force him into lane 1. Okay, he's over it. The rim area. Tires are really flat on the first.
But even though he's now crippled and blind, he keeps charging.
Speed's still 100K. He's slow.
Right toward another cruiser.
Those guys up there in lane 1, you better watch it. He's gonna hit that cruiser. Get out of the way.
The pursuing officer takes decisive action. The spun-out suspect never saw it coming. In fact, he never saw anything at all. When his nearsighted flight from the law got stopped short.
All right, here we got a chase on the 401, which is the busiest highway in the world. This chase started in Whitby, Ontario, which is a suburb of Toronto, and is headed westbound into Scarborough, Ontario, which is a part of Toronto. And we're going to see a police cruiser do a pretty sick maneuver here. And I can't tell if this police cruiser is Durham Regional, which would be the Whitby suburbs, or if it's OPP or Toronto, but it's unmarked. And I haven't seen an all-white unmarked cop car like that in a long time, so I can't remember what force this cop car's from.
OPP officers force a fleeing van into the concrete divider at Nielsen Avenue, ending a chase that began in Whitby. 2 suspects bailed out, but were taken into custody within seconds. The high-speed chase started with a complaint of an impaired driver. No names released yet, no injuries, and no word yet on charges.
I just want to stop it right here and show you guys how quick Buddy just books it here. These guys moved at quantum lightning speed right out of the vehicle across the 401 without even looking, and just get goosed 4 seconds later. So here we have an unhinged beauty. This guy's wanted for a carjacking and shooting in Toronto, and we got him here ripping up the 400 between what seems to be Aurelia and Muskoka, which is a couple hours north of the city. He's lighting up cops with a pew-pew out the window in broad daylight in a stolen Honda Civic. And Buddy totally avoids the spike belt, which causes this OPP cruiser up here to totally eat shit and dust Buddy in the F-150 completely.
Suspect video, which is a silver Honda Civic, is seen racing up the highway, swerving in traffic and eventually managing to avoid the spike belt that was laid out by police. Moments later, an OPP cruiser in pursuit is involved in a collision. It hits the spike belt and crashes into the guardrail. This is just south of Memorial Avenue in Aurelia. Now, eventually, the suspect ditches his vehicle, goes down to a ravine where we are told he also threw away his firearm. He's spotted by an OPP helicopter, and guns drawn, officers manage to coax him out of a wooded area, and they make the arrest then. The suspect is brought back across the highway to a waiting cruiser. Now, this suspect was allegedly wanted for a shooting and carjacking in Toronto. Police say the suspect also fired shots out of his window while fleeing from police on Highway 400. So OPP say that they were not taking any chances in this takedown.
A plan was put in place to ensure that that individual did not leave the highway. It was very important in the interest of public safety, given the information that we had that he was armed with a firearm, that there were shots fired and discharged, that that individual did not leave.
This is the man who was arrested in connection with both the chase and a carjacking that occurred earlier. A woman shot on North Finch Avenue. The shooting took place in a parking lot at North Finch and Steeles, where a man was beaten and a woman shot early this morning. The assailant also took a shot at a police officer.
So here we have another beauty from Surrey, British Columbia, just casually ripping through a mall on his chopper like it's just a normal Tuesday. This video is pretty self-explanatory.